Welcome back to my channel. One of the big stock winners that I've had over the last 2 years has been Coinbase. If you would have bought in Coinbase at the very low in 2022, you'd be up more than 500%. I was fortunate to buy into Coinbase, not a big position. I invested $10,000 and that investment has more than tripled. It's been a really good investment for me. And I wanted to evaluate the company again since they just announced their earnings. And I wanted to update all the fundamentals that I have for the company, do a valuation based on my free cash flow estimation, as well as look at the earnings per share and see what I think the company is worth. Then make a decision to buy, hold, or sell my shares in Coinbase. If you're not familiar with cryptocurrencies, you're not alone. Most people, this is a new topic. This is completely a new industry. It was born out of the Great Recession that happened after the subprime mortgage meltdown that happened in 2008. A frustrated technologist created Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency industry was born. Since then, a lot of people have invested. I'm a small investor in cryptocurrencies, and Coinbase became the first and only publicly traded cryptocurrency exchange in the United States. They have more credibility than every other, including the now defunct FTX or Binance. And the reason for it is since Coinbase is publicly traded, they have to be audited every year, every quarter. They have to announce their financials. So there's far more transparency in Coinbase. I believe this is a big advantage that Coinbase has against its competitors. People like myself that are probably more conservative than the average cryptocurrency investor look for those types of things before I put my hard-earned money into an investment. I've been investing on Coinbase for years. And I decided to buy into this exchange because I recognize that this may be the biggest cryptocurrency exchange really in the world at some point. It certainly is the biggest brand in the United States. Now, this isn't the right investment for everyone. And it took a lot of analysis, and really, this is one of my big bets in my portfolio. I don't know how big cryptocurrencies will end up. I don't know if Coinbase is frankly going to make it as a business. But I do know that if cryptocurrencies become a significant asset class in the markets, it's going to be huge. If that's the case, Coinbase is also going to be huge. I also think that Coinbase has few competitors. There really isn't really a competitor that they have out there. Now that FTX is gone, and Binance has had their set of problems, which include their founder going to prison for a short while. Having said that, as it is the case with any of my videos, I am sharing my investing journey. I'm sharing my analysis on Coinbase. I am not recommending it as a stock that you should buy or a stock that you should sell. I'm not providing any financial advice. I'm just sharing my experience as an individual investor. In this case, I'm analyzing Coinbase, sharing with you what I've done so far from an investing perspective, and sharing with you what I plan to do in the coming weeks with this stock. Looking at the fundamentals of Coinbase, this is a really fast-growing company whose revenues have really expanded. If you look at their top line revenue, they grew more than 100% if you look at the first quarter of 2024 compared to the first quarter of 2023. That's phenomenal growth. Looking at their profit, it expanded more than $1 billion in first quarter of 2024 versus the same quarter last year. They have a market cap of $55 billion. And over the last 2 years, this has been the number one investment in my portfolio. In 1 year, it's up 358%. And over from the very low point in late 22 to the high point in 2024, the stock is up over 540%. So it's been a really fast appreciating stock. If it wasn't for the big AI stories that are out there that have taken NVIDIA to incredible heights in market cap and stock price, I think Coinbase would have caught more attention. The other company out there that's really appreciated well is Meta. Meta's up, 400% or so if you measure from the low to the high. So this has kind of been a hidden smaller cap company that not a lot of people are paying attention. But maybe now that they really have increased in value, that might change. We'll see. There are a number of analysts that cover Coinbase, and they all have a buy rating. And what's interesting is their price targets are negative, meaning they recommend you buy the stock, but their price predictions have a stock price that is 13% lower than the current stock price. That's interesting. That the stock is moving so fast that analysts can't put a price target out there and leave it for a while because the price is just increasing so fast for Coinbase. That's interesting. Overall, this is a very fertile market for Coinbase. What do I say by that? Is the cryptocurrency industry is really young, and it continues to add net new investors that want to own a little bit of Bitcoin or Ethereum or some other type of coin. And that net new investor may be a young person, it may be an older person like myself. These are just net new investors in this space. Other companies are getting into cryptocurrencies. I know that Fidelity offers cryptocurrencies, Robinhood, and I think all the big brokerages are offering cryptocurrencies at a minimum, Bitcoin and Ethereum. And the reason for it is they just see it as a big threat. If they cannot offer this investing or asset class, then their current customers will have to go to Coinbase or another alternative. So they'd rather keep those customers and those clients within their brokerages. Looking at their cash flows, they produce free cash flow. And if you watch my videos, you know that that's a magic word for me, or a magic phrase, which is free cash flows. And that's because most value investors really value an investment based on the free cash flows that company is going to produce in the future. And that's the case with Coinbase. And their cash flows are expanding, which is incredible. For a young company that is in an expanding marketplace, to have free cash flows at this point, that's why I invested in Coinbase. That's a very strong proposition. If you combine the fact that they are producing free cash flow and also have a balance sheet where they have more cash than they do debt, that's a really good combination. Makes me feel secure that this company has a very strong balance sheet and will probably not go out of business because, one, they have upwards of $6 billion of cash, net cash, and two, they continue to produce free cash flow. It's very hard to go out of business when you have a solid foundation with an ever increasing amount of cash on that balance sheet. So those are some of the reasons why I invested in Coinbase to begin with. And I continue to feel like the investment has been a good one. Revisiting the forecast, as mentioned, 22 analysts have covered Coinbase, and the average price target they have is 13% lower than the current stock price. But what's interesting or funny is that they have a buy rating. Hey, we recommend you buy Coinbase, but buy it at 13% less than the current stock price. That's a little unusual. That's the first one that I've seen of that type on a website that I follow. Their earnings per share is really expanding. It went from really, they were losing money to begin with, to in 2024, it's expected they're going to make $1.80 per share. I'll use that in my valuation. It was a big increase from the prior year. The prior year, they only made 37 cents a share. And this year, they're expected to make $1.80 a share. Big jump. Going forward, they're going to grow, and in 2026, have earnings per share at $3.14. That's a huge expansion from the current earnings per share. That would be roughly about a 70% increase. So that would be very positive for the company. I calculated the value of Coinbase stock using their free cash flows that I expect the companies can produce in the future. I also looked at their earnings per share and put together an estimation based on both. Let's take a look at them, and I'll tell you what I think the stock price is worth. To begin with, free cash flows have been really moving up, and I'm using 2023 numbers, but I'm increasing them by 25% to establish what I think they're going to do in 2024. They're going to produce a little over $1 billion of free cash flow in 2024. I'm going to grow each year by 25% for the first 4 years because they are growing that fast. It is incredible to grow cash flows that fast. Terminal value, which is all cash flows after year 4, I'm going to grow, and it might be conservative, but I'd rather be conservative, by 6%. And it establishes that all the cash flows I expect after year 4 are going to amount to $55 billion. I'm going to discount all those cash flows by 10%. Coinbase has a quality balance sheet, plenty of cash, but it's in a new industry. It's a new company. So I want a higher rate of return out of an investment like this one. So I'm going to use a higher discount rate to discount all these cash flows and get to a net present value of all those cash flows, which is $39.3 billion. I'm going to add the cash on the balance sheet and take away debt to get to an equity value of the company. When I compare it to their current market cap, you can see that the market cap's higher than where I think the free cash flows are worth. So the stock price is actually priced at a 24% premium on the stock price. Looking at earnings per share, the earnings per share this year is expected to be $1.80, I'm going to give them a nice high PE of 36 and grow those earnings per share by 10%. When we look at those figures, I get a stock value of $71 per share. The stock price is $223. So it has a very high premium if we look at the earnings per share. When I combine the two and put more weight in the free cash flow method, I get a premium of 39%. With the stock moving up so fast, it's hard to get overly enthusiastic about their numbers. I'm probably might be making the error of being too conservative, but that's fine. I think the stock price is being sold at a premium, and the premium I'm calculating is 39%. And I'll use that to make my decision on what I'm going to do with this stock. Looking at the stock and whether I should buy, hold, or sell, I base my decision on three areas: the company, the balance sheet, the discount on the stock. To begin with the company, I really like the company. I like the industry. It's a new industry. It's potentially a high growth area. This is potentially going to be worth 10, 20 times more than it's currently worth in the next 5 to 10 years. It has a lot of risk, but overall, I like the industry, like the company. I think their management team is excellent. I like that they're publicly traded, and they are going to be probably the most trusted brokerage or exchange for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other cryptocurrency assets. So the company, most definitely, I'm bought into. The balance sheet. They have more cash than they do debt. They produce free cash flow. So I am very comfortable with their balance sheet. There's no liability there that worries me. Now for the discount. There's no discount on Coinbase, and there hasn't been for a little while. Having said that, I'm going to hold my shares of Coinbase. I have a $10,000 investment that's worth approximately $30,000 now. That's a place that I want to stay at for a while. Maybe give it a quarter or two. And once I get more fundamental or updated fundamental information, I could update my valuation, and maybe I could estimate that the stock price is valued more. Or maybe I estimate that the stock price is actually valued less, and it might compel me to sell. But for now, I'd like to stick around. It's not a huge position for my portfolio, but it's certainly a fun stock to track and follow as it really rises in price. So that's my evaluation of Coinbase. I hope you found it interesting. I'd love to hear what you think. Please provide a comment on what you think of Coinbase, what you think of cryptocurrencies overall. I'd love to read that. Again, thanks again for watching. Good luck investing in 2024.